everyone. Alanna Kaivalya here. It is my great honor and pleasure to be showing up for you on Mondays live as this broadcast is being recorded and shared. So thank you very much for joining me. I'm really, excited to talk to you today about something a little bit different. I am launching the Satisfied Coach certification program. Now, it's been happening behind the scenes in my world for the last couple of weeks. I've been speaking to women personally about this program, getting them enrolled. We officially launch on August 5th, and I wanted to show up in a little bit more of a broader way today to share with you the whys behind the program, what it's about, but also to give you as women a bit of a pep talk around this work because it is so many women are being called to this work, and there are a few really key reasons why. Coaching is a $20 billion a year industry, but still, most of the successful coaches remain men. And we've got to change that because, as it stands culturally, women are still only making about 80 cents to every dollar that a man makes. And there's enough of that. We got to change it. But one of the things that's really empowering about creating a coaching business is that it's yours. And you actually get 100% of all of the dollars coming in instead of having to work harder for your money. So I do love that about this business. And I am an entrepreneur, I'm a businesswoman, and I've been coaching women for the last 10 plus years, helping them bring their work into the world in a much greater way. And one of the things that's so critical for women these days is to have their own sovereignty, their own ability to make their money themselves, to have their own patch of grass to stand on. So, this is why I decided to create the coaching certification because as a one-on-one coach, I'm working with women to build their businesses. But most of them want to be coaches because it allows them to make a greater impact with women personally. You see, when women build businesses, they don't tend to build businesses that deliver widgets. They tend to build the kind of business that changes lives and makes impact, the kind of businesses that bring their magic forward. And coaching is such a, frankly, easy pathway to be able to do that. And building this type of business is really a streamlined way to get your magic and your money off the ground. So it does a couple of things for us. But it's not easy to build something, is it? And I know that. I get it. Like, there's a lot of trepidation around it. One of the things I see in the women that I work with all the time is collapse and dysregulation and fear. They get right to the edge of that, yes, that full-bodied, yes, I want to build a business or I want to become a coach. And then they just drop. They collapse into themselves. They stop. And the reason for that is that culturally, it's actually been kind of trained and ingrained in us to not seek or ask for money. And I get it. We've only actually been able to control our own money for about the last 50 years, if you can believe it. It wasn't until 1974 that a woman could open her own checking account without a male cosigner. I mean, if that isn't mind-blowing, I don't know what is. Can you imagine? I mean, this for most of us, that's either us in our lifetimes we've seen that, or that's our mothers have seen that shift. And so we're really on the first kind of edge of what it looks like to be an empowered woman with the ability to not only make, but control our own money. And so we need training for that, but we also need support around that. We need the ability to create the businesses, to ask for the money, to show up, to do the hard things, to do the scary things sometimes. So when I see that collapse, I totally understand it. But I want to boldly encourage you to drop that narrative, That when you feel a full-bodied yes about bringing your magic into the world, that you go for it, that you unapologetically follow that through. Because when you follow it through, when you stand up, when you say yes to bringing your magic into the world, to making more money and more impact, not only do you give yourself permission to be a sovereign woman in this world, but you show other women what's possible. And this is one of the core reasons why I'm creating this coach certification program, because I didn't want to just help women one-on-one create businesses. I wanted to empower them with the tools to change lives. That's what they're asking for. That's what they're seeking. And that's really at the heart of where your magic lies. Now, I had an incredible conversation this weekend with a woman who said yes to the program. I'm very excited to work with her. And she's told me about the unbelievable grief that she's lived through in this lifetime. And in the same breath, is worried that she doesn't have enough to share with women to make an impact. Look, we're women. Our lives are never easy. They are hard by nature. And so all of the things that we've been through that have brought us to where we are now, that grit, that resilience, that not backing down, not giving up, that determination, that's exactly what you pass on as a coach. That's exactly what you give to other women and share with other women. I had a session this morning with a client, a one-on-one session with a client who is in full dysregulation and collapse and really truly feels like she's alone in the world. And I will tell you unequivocally that women don't do well alone. Now, that doesn't mean you have to be partnered in a romantic sense, but that you have to have support, appropriate support to hold your femininity so that you can call your power into being. If you're still supporting everyone else or feeling unsafe, insecure, then full dysregulation and collapse really is inevitable. Now, I was so proud of this woman when she said not only yes to coaching, but showed up for it. We had our first session this morning, and she started with tears. I don't know what to do. I'm alone. I'm scared. I feel unsafe, unsupported. And I said, that's exactly why you're here, because now you're supported, and we are going to create safety for you. If you're a woman who's ever felt alone, if you're a woman who anyone has ever told you that you can't, diminished your value, asked you to work for less, called you to do more when you're exhausted and burnt out, then I want you to consider this. Because you lived through it, but you don't need to keep doing it that way. And so I want to show you something different, and I want you to show other women something different too. This work is bigger than our emotions. This work is bigger than our burnout. And I know that this work is holy. Now, I also know that most coaching certification programs are still masculine models. They breed in that hustle culture, that hard pitch, that heavy duty sales, that millionaire mindset where we're going to burn ourselves out until we're at seven figures. But I don't do that. Those superficial scripts and outdated paradigms, they don't work for us. We're not here to force anyone to change. We're not here to burn ourselves out in the process of building our own business or our empire. We're here to be sovereign. You know, I write about this. I mean, I wrote the book literally on the satisfied woman right here. And chapter 9 is about reclaiming your queendom, your sovereign seat as queen. A queen in her world sits in her place and she serves others. Not from a place of overgiving, but from a place of empowerment, from a place of strength, femininity, not collapse. She receives. So, what I want to train you to do in this coaching certification program is to receive. That is what a sovereign woman does. She calls in the support. She calls in the finances or the prosperity. She calls in the help. She calls in the nourishment, the grace from her sovereign place because she is a whole and boundaried woman. So, in the certification program, not only will I teach you how to create strong boundaries and build a business that fits your feminine flow, but I'll show you how to do that for others. Because remember, women have only had control of their money for the last 50 years. It's only in the last few decades that women have really gotten into the workforce and been able to have fully empowered careers. But we're still largely doing all of that on men's terms. They wrote the playbook and we're following it. Uh-uh. We need to build lives, families, businesses on our terms. And our terms, they're just different. They're just different. And they can still create wild and crazy abundance and success. And you have no idea how much I want that for you. But you've got to learn the different playbook. You've got to learn to play by your own feminine rules. Most women get trained to perform by rules they didn't create. But women need to be embodied. That's how we lead from power, through embodiment. So when I do coaching, and I've been doing this for 10 plus years, I can't tell you how often I ask women, what are you feeling? And they'll name something, but it's not a feeling, it's not a sensation. This culture doesn't honor our embodiment, our intuition, our femininity, our feminine power. And a lot of us still believe the narratives that tell us to keep playing small. It's time to rework the system. It's time to rewire our nervous systems. We need something rooted in truth, in satisfaction, and in sovereignty, something that is ours. Now, I'm passionate about coaching for a few reasons. It changed my life at a really critical period. The first time I worked with a life coach, I'm not kidding you, I think I was 21 or 22. At the time, I was already in my chosen career as a yoga teacher. Now, guys, this was a long time ago. This was way before yoga was cool, teaching yoga was cool. This was in probably the year 2000 or 2001. Um, and I was hustling my way all over the Denver metro area, teaching so many classes. I was eating at least 2 meals a day in my car, pouring my heart out, sometimes to three, four people, getting paid nearly nothing. I was in bad shape. And I was raised in hustle culture, probably just like you were. The overperformance, the overgiving, the burn yourself out, the say yes to everything culture that you think is going to get you to success, or at least their version of it. And a friend of mine who just had gotten her life coach certification said, I want to help you. And she did. And I remember when she said to me, Alanna, you need to go on a vacation. And I said, I can't afford it. I can't afford it. She said, okay, well, then you're going to go on a staycation. And this was before that term was even coined. She said, I want you to take 2 weeks. And for the next 2 weeks, only answer emails for 30 minutes a day. Do one thing that nourishes you. And I named getting a haircut. I hadn't had a haircut in, I think, 2 years. So I booked a haircut. I checked my emails 30 minutes a day. She said, you need to get outside and walk once a day. Like we made all these agreements about things that would feel like a vacation, but allowed me to stay at home because I couldn't afford to get away. And I went into all sorts of panic, right? Because I was in full collapse at the time. I see you. And at the end of 2 weeks, she said, Alana, how do you feel? I said, I feel amazing. I feel amazing. I don't want this vacation to end. And she said, good, because I don't want it to end either. This is how you need to live your life. And it helped me retrain and re-regulate. And that's something that coaching does for people because coaching is different than therapy. In fact, I actually work with quite a few women who are therapists, but who are moving toward coaching because number one, it pays you more. And number two, the therapy model is very just reflective. How do you feel about that? Well, what would you do to solve the problem? In coaching, you know you've got some answers and you can actually give it to people. You can actually tell your clients what will be best for them and then hold them accountable to doing it. We have more empowerment in coaching. We have greater support in coaching. I'm texting with my clients in between coaching sessions. You can't do that as a therapist. So there's a little less structure and rules that actually allow us to serve our clients better through a coaching model. It's changed my life and it's changed the lives of the women that I work with. I see it not just in their identity and their sovereignty and the way they move around the world, but also in their level of income. I've seen what happens when women claim their voice, their gifts, and their power to guide others. Your femininity deserves a method, not one that talks about it or just includes our wisdom, but really centers it. So, at the heart of my coaching program, the certification program, yeah, sure, everything I've written in here, but I'm going to help you help others, women, create the foundation for a satisfied life because it is possible. But remember, we've only had control of our money for 50 years. We've only really had careers and the empowerment that we have today. We've only had this level of agency, power, and choice in our lives for a short time. There isn't a playbook yet. We're creating it. Women are bumping around going, well, the only model of success I've seen is theirs. And we're here to say, there's a better way to do it. And it's not success, it's satisfaction. And the foundation of satisfaction are the four keys: safety, security, trust, and cherishing. There are internal mechanisms for that, and there are external mechanisms for that. And I hammer home with every coaching client I work with these four keys, ensuring that they have them in every area of their lives, because that's how you create satisfaction, ultimate satisfaction. That's where your receptivity comes from. That's where your sovereignty comes from. That's where your abundance comes from, your prosperity. I promise. Coaching allows us to offer the level of support we want to our clients. It allows us the kind of connection to our clients that creates the kind of impact that give our lives meaning. And it allows us to sovereignly earn 100% of the work we put forth with our incredible efforts and our magic. It allows us to get our wisdom, our lived experience into the world in a way that prevents others from suffering that we know we can help them alleviate. The certification isn't just about starting your own business or a practice. It's about rewriting power dynamics. Remember, coaching is a $20 billion a year industry. 85% of that industry are women, but the top earners remain men. I want to change that. I want you to change that because there is no good reason for that. I'm serious about this. I am not fucking around. The way forward is feminine. It's collaborative. It's truth led. And if you're watching this, you probably feel the pull. You're not crazy. You're not too late. You have the resilience. You have the magic that you can pull forward. You are right on time. The old ways aren't working, and you know that. Your voice keeps whispering there is more. So this is your sign. This is your sign to join. Look, as a coach, I have seen how this work changes women's lives. I've seen it. That's why I've started this movement. That's why I wrote the book. That's why I continue to coach one-on-one. But I also know that part of my work is empowering other women to get this message out there. A feminine centered message that supports the choices, power, and agency of other women. Because the time is now. We couldn't have done this 10 years ago. We couldn't have done this 25 years ago. We definitely couldn't have done this 50 years ago, but we can do it now. If you want to earn 100% of your worth and value, if you want to make impact and income, if you want to have a life filled with meaning and purpose and sovereignty that is yours, a business and a career that you can scale up or down based on your needs, your family's needs, then this is for you. This is for you. And I want you to join me for the Satisfied Coach certification. The first round begins on August 5th, and I am inviting a handful of women into this core foundational movement. Now I'll continue running it, but if you want in at the start with me, you've got to apply and join now. Spaces are filling. Because this is the first time I'm doing this, I'm keeping it small and intimate. I'm handpicking the women that join. You can do it in the future, but now is the time. Okay. So whenever you're watching this, if the August 5th deadline has passed, apply anyway. I will have a wait list. I will remain in touch with you. I continue to work with women. I continue to support them through my website, thesatisfiedwoman.com, through my monthly membership, Rooted, where women just like you are talking about issues just like this. So I'm here for you in every way that I can, and I'm here to empower you to pass this on. So join me. I'll look forward to seeing your application come through. And in whatever way you choose to be a part of this movement of satisfied women, I am here for you. Let's get it, sisters.